Welcome to Shri and Kira Live, the voice of passionate action. Celebrating 21 years of continual public service, Shri and Kira offer you the blessing of the experience of I am as you are. Enjoy timeless wisdom, divine inspiration, community connection, and joyful fun. Discover your best life filled with the peace, love, and joy of the Yoga of Self-Ascension as you ignite your dreams with the Law of Instantaneous Manifestation. And now, sit back and relax and welcome Shri and Kira.
Namaste, beloved ones, and welcome to Shri and Kira Live. I am wisdom teacher Shri Ramkar.
And I am Master Lady Kira Ra, welcoming you here to our culminating morning here in our Los Angeles experience of self-ascension, where some of our beautiful community members are still here on the other side of the camera, and the sun is shining.
It's a beautiful day in LA.
Wow,
Yes.
It is a gorgeous moment. And it's April 2. How did that happen? How are we already at April 2nd? It's almost surreal, isn't it? And so we want to jump right in because today is huge. And I don't know if anybody's over at YouTube monitoring today. Maybe one of our people here at the house could be so kind as to jump into YouTube. So we're going to try and get your questions. But as of right now, Sue is in the air, I believe.
Yep.
And Dana's in the air, and a lot of our people who would normally be funneling your questions to Shri and I are in the air. So we will do our best to get your questions if we can. And like I said, maybe somebody here at the house would be so kind as to get into YouTube and send us your questions. So let's take a beautiful breath in. Let's go in. There it is. And let's show April. So Shri, let's show the April calendar. Absolutely. Because right. It is just extraordinary. And there it is. Wow. Wow and wow. So go ahead right now and just relax. Relax into what you're gazing at here, because what you're staring at right in the middle of this calendar is that 4, 5, 6 that's coming in right now, right? Here we are. The moon, have you been watching it? Here in Los Angeles for us, it's just been extraordinary. Every day we've had clear skies. It has been a moon that is just saying, here I come. And if you look at this week, what's so profound is that April 4, 5, and 6, right there, April 4, 5, and 6 are coming up. We're in it, guys. We're in it. This full moon is going to start its peak acceleration today. So it's going to start winding up really strongly today, tomorrow, Tuesday, and on Wednesday, you see it's right in the middle there. We're also coming right in the middle of Passover. We have this extraordinary ignition going on. If you look at the 4th, all right, so if you look at April 4, what you see is that this is more than just a full moon. This is a peak ascension, full moon up level. And this is one of the peak ones for the year. This is that 4-4 perfect balance. Now, right in the next day is then the actual full moon itself. So 4-4 is the peak up level. 4-5, we have this extraordinary moment of the full moon. And that full moon on the 5th is peaking right there as we have a Passover experience beginning that's going to bring a lot of people into this world into a moment of focus. And the focus is why? Why is this night different? Why is this month different? Why are we doing this? And this is all about the focus and the remembrance, because then look at Thursday. Oh my goodness gracious. Thursday, Mercury retrograde is saying, guess what? Pre-phase, I'm showing up, I'm beginning. And I think this week, a lot of people, Shri, have been feeling the pre-phase as well.
Absolutely. It's such a powerful week. I want to remind us all that any full moon is an increase in energy. However, the way things are stacked up, that is, the alignment before us, is like this giant crescendo of energy offering the opportunity to pop into that ascended state of being, or to perhaps, if fear is there, to drop into trying to hold on.
Pop or drop. And we do want to say, speaking of popping, our one and only beautiful Pauline is sitting right here, and she went into YouTube. So you make sure if you have questions, you pop them in there. We will be able to get them for you, hopefully. So don't be afraid or don't be shy to ask those questions. So, Sheree, speaking of that pop or drop moment, and what's happening here in April right now, let's go to the Ascended Numerology. Let's pop right over to that in our popping experience that we're having right now. Wow. Okay, just take a breath, guys. Sheree, I remember that when this came up, when this first showed up, I remember sending Sue an email going, "Oh my God!" Right?
Yeah.
Because remember, it is because April is a 5 prime plus the infinite month. This month is like prime. April itself is a prime. 2023 is a prime. April 2023 is the 5 prime plus the infinite. It is the balancing of divine mastery presence with the body of form. So I want you to really take that in, everybody. It's the balancing of divine mastery presence with the body of form. And as you're gazing at the Ascended Numerology, at first glance, some of you might be thinking, hey, this almost looks like a mirror of March. Well, in many ways it is, because those initial sums appear to be equal. And that is exactly where that similarity ends. April is a uniquely fascinating journey of experience for all. I want you to take that in. It is the vast chasm of the chakra experiences and massive leaps. I mean, massive leaps in and out of infinite potentiality. And they're here to remind you that your body, especially as you're looking at this, your body's inviting you to lead. I mean, really take that in, Sri. It's inviting you to lead.
And what we're also witnessing in the energies of April is this balance between the foundation of your being and your guidance.
Ooh,
and there's this potential teeter-totter or potential opportunity to integrate divine guidance into the base chakra of your body.
Ooh.
When we bring guidance down into our root chakra, that first chakra, when we bring that in, we send a message of reassurance to the body. We are using the internal resource of spirit as opposed to looking outside of ourselves saying, would you please help me feel safe? Would you please help me feel secure? We have the feelings of safety and security inside, and from there we engage the outer world. And this is a very important discernment, to always bring your guidance in and bring it and anchor it into this body.
I want you to really feel that. And today, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that right after this broadcast, 15 minutes after this broadcast, we are going to be hosting, well, not Sri and I, but our beautiful community members, our shepherds, are hosting an incredible after party where you can go deeper with this material, where you can meet other people that really share the same experiences that you're sharing and really feel that support. So I really encourage you, if you're over there at YouTube, somebody over at YouTube, how about one of our shepherds over there at YouTube, pop in that link. Let's get more people invited to the after party, because it's really a lot of fun. It's about a 30-minute digestion of everything that Sri and I are sharing, especially when you go, oh my God, what are they saying? Well, you can catch up fast.
Yes, no, it's an opportunity to air things out at your own pace and with friendly community. We've delivered a lot of information here in a very few minutes. And I invite you all right now, take a breath.
Let's do that. Why don't you do that together, Sri? Why don't we all take a breath? Let's do that.
If it's safe to do so, bring a hand to your hearts. Begin to connect inwardly. And then add Ave, hail to the divine, on the inhale. And the Sa, the exhale, is releasing all need to control. Hail to the infinite. Let's do that a few times together. Ave on the inhale. Sa. Again. Ave. Sa. Stretch it out a little more. Ave. Whenever we breathe with intention, we set up the vehicle of engagement, the vehicle of experience in such a way that we can be in communion with our ascended mastery as well as engaged with the activities of the physical world. To be able to hold both present is indeed to be in the world and not of the world, to be in that ascended walk, offering service, love, and reassurance to everyone you meet.
Breathe that in. Offering service, love, and reassurance. Service, love, and reassurance to everyone you meet, simply through the acceptance of your divine presence. And I want to go back because we jumped right into those predictions so quickly, and I want to go ahead and go back to the April calendar for a moment because there was a few other things I wanted to point out to you. First of all, Shri, would you read that beautiful sharing
Absolutely.
for April? Let's bring our hands to our heart and let's really feel this beautiful sharing.
The first spiral of the up-level mount anchors as the 4-4 perfect balance. A moment to fully call forward divine universal support as the foundation for the rest of 2023.
Now, really keeping your hands on your heart and breathe that in. Let's dissect that a minute. The first spiral of the up-level mount anchors as the 4-4 perfect balance. I'm going to stop that for a second, and I'm going to bring us to the 2023 storm, because this, if you look at this, if you gaze at this right here, if you gaze at this graphic, you see the pyramid. You see this pyramid with the eye of 2023 and the 3 spirals. These 3 spirals represent 4-month cycles throughout the year. And the very first one, that bottom left, you see how that spiral is getting ready to whip it up? It's that, this is what I was talking about, if you've been with us over the weekend, this is what I was talking about yesterday during the Mastery Mentorship as well, is that we are in this moment where it's just like, choom, it is just a prolific moment. And as you're gazing here, you might even be rereading some of what it says. Remember that all of these predictions, everything that Shri and I are sharing with you, 100% of this is found inside of the 2023 Mastery Planner, which you can get at our website for a very minimal donation to Global Minga. And I really encourage you to do so, because as this first spiral begins its whip, begins that spin, I'm going to go back to April again, and I keep popping it up and down for you to really pay attention here. Remove your eyes from all of the numbers and the other things that I put on there. And if you go into this diagram, this graphic was gifted to me by a very ancient white lion presence here on the planet. Shri and I were in a conversation where I actually wound up for the first time ever having what I like to call a reverse ensoulment, where I was actually inside this beautiful white lion's body. And I saw my legs and everything that was happening. And when I was with him, this is where he took me. And this was very much about April. And it was very much about, if you see, it's as if we're gazing down into the top of the portal. It's as if your crown chakra itself is gazing back up at you. And it's all about Wednesday the 5th. As rimmed by April the 4th and Thursday the 6th. Because remember, Thursday the 6th, as part of this 3-day really profound moment for humanity, April 4, 5, and 6, it's a continuum. It is one energy, but each one is unique. Yet the 3 play together. And as we are all moving through this moment right now, this April moment, I'm going to put that calendar right back up again. What you can see is what it says in the second sentence: a moment to fully call forward divine universal support. I want you to breathe in those 3 words: divine universal support. Divine universal, breathe that in, feel that on your heart. Divine universal support as the foundation. Divine universal support as the foundation for the rest of the year. Now, why is that so important? Why does that matter so much? Well, now we're going to put the Ascended Numerology back up and show you why. And I'm going to let Shri share. And then we're going to get to some of those questions because we're just going to be right here with all of you. So let's go to the AN. There it is. All right. Divine universal support as the foundation. I want you to hear that again. Divine universal support as the foundation. Look at the ascended numerology. Look at the root chakra. It's like this. It's like an arrow. It's like a bullseye, right? It's this bullseye in April saying, "Hey, are you loving you enough? Hey, are you?" And you notice that in the ascended realms, the first chakra is actually the 4. It's not about where it's placed on the body. It's a sequential alignment. And so the 4 is what? Perfect balance. And it's about beingness. April is saying your perfect balance comes from being. And Sri, I really want you to talk about that bullseye there, because that's quite a bullseye going,
absolutely.
hey, foundation.
If you take a look at the chart there, you see the star at the root of the human form, and the connection with the star consciousness and the energy from the high heart, etc. One of the things that is important to remember, and we touched on this earlier, is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience.
We are.
When we're young, sometimes we get so distracted by the joys of the body and the world and the emotions that recognition has not come in. For many beings, it takes a long time for that recognition to anchor, and they say, "Wait a minute, there is more. There is more." And it's essential, I think, that we pay a little respect to Aldous Huxley and some of the great philosophers,
absolutely,
who came up with a discussion. And like philosophers do, they got a little too heady. However, there were some really good nuggets in there. And basically, the nugget is, they feel the purpose of life is to rediscover your divine nature while still in form.
The perennial philosophies, right?
To discover your true nature and to live that while still in form.
And you know what I love about that, Sri? That is the definition of the Yoga of Self-Ascension.
Yes. That we are here with a pathway of ripening the fullness of our divine mastery presence while here. I remember years ago I had a dialogue with Archangel Zadkiel, and I was very much steeped in a lot of conventional beliefs and understandings. And I said, well, Zadkiel, we have a basic self and we have a higher self, and the higher self sometimes seems a little elusive. And so how do we connect? And this angelic presence just began laughing, saying, "Shri, there's only one self. How can you ascend back to what you already are?"
And Zadkiel was roaring. I mean, really, when I listened to this tape.
and the perspective that was communicated was enough of a giggle to go, well, wait a minute. I've been looking. It's like having your telescope turned around and you're looking in the wrong end. Right. I've been looking at the divine from this perspective of that which has separated from the divine. The perspective of a refraction. And if we breathe and connect with essence and come back to our heart, we begin to open the recognition of our divinity and recognize that the body and the emotions and the ego are the refraction. They are not the authentic being. So this comes back to the April gift. As we anchor our spiritual knowing in our beingness, right down in the foundation, we discover more fully, day by day, breath by breath, that we can live as an ascended master in form. You could not take birth here if you have not already developed your mastery. This is like the ultimate Gold's Gym for the universe, is to take birth
without
on
a
Earth.
monthly membership fee.
Yeah. The cost of admission might be reincarnation a few times.
You never know.
But this opportunity for spirit to come into physical form here on Earth was like, okay, I've got this, and I'm going to awaken through all the density. I'm going to awaken through all the pain. I'm going to awaken through all the joy. I'm going to awaken through every experience as an opportunity for me to cultivate my awakened consciousness.
Now, take a breath on that. because every breath is that opportunity to cultivate awakened consciousness. And as you're breathing that and as you're feeling that, I want to put back up for you right now the 2023 multidimensional presence experience from the Ascension Renaissance. This is in your Mastery Planner calendar, but you see that your multidimensional presence carries the divine mastery presence of all that you have ever been and will ever be in this moment of potentiality. And I want you to look right there at that ninth dimensional portal appearing. You see that? The ninth dimensional portal has appeared, and it has not been this accessible in this realm of potentiality ever before. This body of form, our conscious awareness, our ability to collectively remember and support each other through the frequencies that are outside of victim consciousness. Remember, in order to sustain this is that moment where deep within you must give yourself the blessing of saying, I release the victim and I empower the master. I release the victim and empower the master. And remember that the victim is very sly and very, very articulate and extremely well educated and very cultured. And it's sophisticated enough to discover ways to co-create experiences that will stop you. You will be at the epitome of your mastery presence when something will come in front of you. It can be a comment, it can be an experience, it will be whatever it is that your mind will have you receive exactly the way it wants you to receive it. Because what it is the ultimate test of, are you really living the mastery or are you just pretending? And those are the moments when you know. Are you falling back with a partner in pain, or are you able to stand in the face of a partner in pain and assist them to walk through with grace, dignity, and love? Or is it just easier to collapse into the pain and agree with it? This is a really important discernment because April balance is really about that. And we have some questions here, and we're so grateful to Pauline, who's sitting over there being so wondrous, just staying right with all of you. And so we have a couple questions, Shri. And so let's, the first one here is from Mona. And so, hi, Mona. May I read you the question?
Yeah, let's
all right.
do it.
Namaste, Shri and Kira. I love you. We love you too. Infinite gratitude. What are the questions we can ask ourselves or points that we can focus on to go beyond the mind and receive divine universal support? Would you like to start, Shri? That's
the
fabulous
questions
question,
we can ask
Mona.
ourselves or the focus.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, the way one articulates a question really calls forward a response.
Right.
And so I would like to invite you, when you say, what are the questions we can ask? There are very few questions you can ask that do not engage the mind. The mind is your servant, and yet it has become a real management tyrant at times for most of us, interrupting our joy, questioning, doubting, working with the emotional body to calculate all kinds of good reasons not to go down a certain path. Anyway, so be careful with questions. One of the first things, a question for the sake of exploring and going deeper is beautiful and perfect. One of the things I want to suggest is the most significant mastery question that Master Lady Kira Ra had actually brought through last year in a succinct manner for all of us. Whenever we are in a situation that we're having various experiences with a situation, is to ask yourself, what in me invited this to be?
Now, breathing that in, I want to go more directly to your question, which was, how can you call in universal support? And you might say, well, how does that question help me call in more universal support? Well, first of all, it helps you call in more universal support by acknowledging that all that universal support is already inside of you. What in me invited this to be is that moment of self-realization with the joy of the responsible action in motion. The joy of it, the joy of looking in the mirror and going, wow, did I mess that up? Right? Or wow, did I call that in? Or wow, look at that. And then the joy of knowing that the reason that was called in, that the reason that experience is before you is because you are ready to master that, move through it. Remember, we were sharing this again yesterday when we were with our beautiful group here in LA that, oh my God, all of you are just so amazing. All of you are so amazing. And we were sharing this and really diving into this quite a bit. It's that joy of the response-able action.
Yeah.
It's that knowing that, for many, many years, some of you may or may not be aware that I was an SRF devotee for many, many years and used to play the harmoniums with them and do the meditations and many, many things. And then started having all these fabulous spiritual experiences in my life and ran into the dogma for me in that organization, and I was no longer welcomed. I was not allowed to be receiving spiritual messages and be a part of that organization, or at least the branch that I was working with. So the gift they gave me was that I had read Autobiography of a Yogi, the brown cover, right, the SRF published cover, many, 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 many times. And what I learned through that experience and through my deep dive into traversing all of the world's religions is that we, as a culture of human experience, we love to canonize people when they're no longer here because we can create an illusion about them. And we can sustain these illusions and propagate these illusions and create these models that are absolutely not even in the realm of attainability, because it's not the function for why we're here in this experience. And so what we do is we set up a model of perfection that we seek our whole lives trying to attain, and thereby will always fall short, thereby never quite breaking free through the it's like a self-flagellation, the self-flagellation of I'm not good enough, I keep going backwards, I'm not good enough, they're not good enough, they're whatever. And so the purpose I'm sharing this with you is when I left, I had the pleasure of reading, I call it the Blue Book. And that is the original version of Autobiography of a Yogi, the original version. And I really encourage you to find that one and read it. And then I did something that many people probably have not taken the time to do, but I found it very fascinating, was I read them side by side, literally page by page. And what was so extraordinary for me personally, and I'm sharing with you because you may want to find a way to navigate this yourself, was that what Kriyananda did in putting out the original text that Yogananda handed to him, and in his personal experiences of living with Paramahansa Yogananda, we got the real man. And we saw that Lahiri Mahashaya, we learned more about him. We learned more about all of the divine beings. And what we learned was that they had personalities, that they were very, very tough, that
Sri Yukteswar had multiple lawsuits.
He was a lawyer.
To protect the ashram and people who were complaining about them and demanding their rights.
He was very strict. He was very stern. Yogananda even wrote himself that he said he loved him when he met him, and it would be 20 years later till he would offer him a kind word again. And so what was so beautiful was that Yukteswar maintained exactly what had to be done so that Paramahansa could be and thereby look at everything that has happened because of that. That's the model of true mastery. And in that little slice of truth, we are gifted with the recognition that a master in form is one that has released victim consciousness and a sense of need for approval by others. Yeah. The actions that many of us take is because we want others to appreciate us or approve of us or validate us, because deep within ourselves we feel unwhole. So we are seeking our validation. We are seeking our wholeness through others. We are afraid to be alone because we do not recognize the wholeness within. We do not realize how full we are, how much we carry. And then to be able to stand in that wholeness, to discover another whole being, to come together in wholeness, is the expansiveness. And that's what Sri and I have been modeling for over 21 years now, is To stand in wholeness together is to not limit the expansion of each other in the oneness of being. Humanity has entered a moment where the dogmatic traditions are doing their best to limit your ability to receive the blessing of you. Consider that there are religions where if your genitalia is not correct, you cannot even become a preacher or a teacher or a minister. Yet are we not all healers, teachers, and ministers? When we break free of the victim consciousness, and this month of April is so important, this is the resolution that you're staring at now. We are in a moment where a victim can transform into a teacher. A rescuer can transcend into a healer. And the abuser can become the mentor. Victim, abuser, rescuer, teacher, mentor, healer. They're the same energy. They're the exact same energy. The question is the consciousness that's meeting that energy, yes. Right? It's the consciousness that meets the energy that will determine the outcome. So forgive yourself, as Shri always says, have mercy on yourself. Have mercy on yourself. If you haven't connected with the forgiveness practice in a while, go back to our homepage and literally scroll through the entire homepage. Go to shriandkira.com. There is a wealth. You'll be there for a week. There's a wealth of free information for you. Ensoulments, practices, inspirations, beautiful community, global Minga, pyramid of peace. There's just so much. Go to shriandkira.com and find that which calls to your heart. But your heart right now, and I won't use the word but, I'll say and your heart right now is inviting you, and I'm going to put up another slide, to absolutely remember that you are in the moment of the cycle of ascended consciousness, and it will always be awareness, experience, choice. Awareness, experience, choice. Awareness, experience, choice. It's not a question of are you going to dive in? It's a question of how do you walk through it, right? How do you walk through it? And speaking of walking through it, Shri, we are, let's see. Okay. I met a being yesterday. Oh, right, here we go. Is that, I'm trying to find, there it is. I met a being yesterday, and in conversation, my forehead began hurting. Why would that happen? Well, fabulous question, Kate. And here's the first thing you want to remember about that, as Shri was just doing. Where in the forehead? That's the first thing. So let's identify a few parts of the forehead that you may want to be aware of. So third eye, we all know, right? There it is. Common third eye. Okay. From the third eye, go out about 1.5 inches right there. Right about there is star consciousness. Also, once you awaken these two, the cosmic prime meridians are right here. So if I was to take a line, right, if I was to draw a line right here on my forehead and say, if your forehead was hurting between this area right here, then you were in an experience where you were being called to step into conscious awareness of cosmic presence. And that can have a lot of reasons. If the head was hurting on this area here, what my experience has been is that, and often it's subconscious, your energy is being sucked. That there's often unintentional, like, oh God, I love your energy. Can I have more? And so to me, I often feel a drain here, cosmic presence here. How's that? Does that work for you, Shri?
Absolutely.
Right?
These are great questions. So the thing about the headache is, here is one where you can reflect inwardly and say, okay, am I being called to be more neutral, more in my soul's energy, or was there a projection?
Right.
And we can't answer that at this moment. However, the key is that star consciousness, when we bring our focus and our energy up into star consciousness, we are in a place of soul neutrality. Mm-hmm. This is the radiance of the peaceful beingness of your transcendent essence, and it radiates out. And you've seen many sacred drawings and paintings showing illumination and rays and energy, and that's what we refer to as star consciousness. That is the you beyond the body.
You know, it really is. And the one thing that I want to jump right in, because what I wanted to show you was this, our books. And the reason I wanted to show you our books is this. Everything we're talking about, if you have not read these books, if you own these books on Kindle, go back and read them again. If you don't have the soft cover, grab a few copies, not only for yourself, put them in different areas. These books, the Ascension Renaissance energy that is opened right now on this planet, is inviting a higher experience of conscious awareness of ascended presence. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to have to do a little work. It means that you're going to have to do more than just sit around and hang out with it. You're going to need to really consciously apply it. We're at a moment where consciously applying this energy is the moment that will give you the greatest results. The law of instantaneous manifestation is as effective as your application of it. And so that means that it is a conscious awareness. I just keep going back to conscious awareness, conscious awareness, conscious awareness, because we're coming right into this big balancing moment.
Conscious awareness is important because awareness alone is not going to lift you. It's only an immediate sensation. An animal or a plant is aware of its surroundings, but to be conscious of the awareness is the empowerment of your divinity.
Yeah.
To say, I am light here in form, and I can make choices, and I am co-creating.
And that is the gift. And you know, we want to bring you right back again to multidimensional presence. And you'll see that in the multidimensional presence, what's happening is, especially in this moment right now, you've got this experience that's saying, look, what do you really want and where do you want to anchor? Are you able to, in the third dimension, we all begin. We begin by what? We begin by remembering who we are. We begin by waking up one day and going, oh my God, there's something happening. Oh my God, there's something different. Or you've had an experience. Or how many of you remember? I remember. You remember walking into a metaphysical store the first time? I do. The smell. Remember
It's
the
magical,
smell?
huh?
That magical smell and the energy, and you're like, wow, and you're walking around and everything is just so different. Because you're walking into something, yet it smells familiar. There's an energy. And I'm not saying all are the same, but I'm saying remember, or wherever you had that moment. And then when you bring in that energy, when you bring that into your life, what do you first start noticing? Well, for many, you may start noticing that you could be in conflict with your family. You could be, and I'm not using the word conflict like overt conflict. I'm just saying that your thought experiences, the way that you're viewing the world, that's one of the hardest things. You know, we grow up as children, and as when we grow up, our world around us and shapes our beliefs. And when we are aware of a depth of presence beyond the belief systems of the young child, is when we first start looking at ourselves.
Yeah. You know, it's an amazing journey, and it's one not to be taken lightly, because we are born into a body. We are born and cultivate a personality and an ego. And as Kira was sharing, you know, when we first get started on this journey of exploring life, we feed our emotions, we feed our personality, we really try to conform and get along, and because everybody at the ego level has a need for safety, a need for belonging,
Yes.
and a need to trust.
Yes.
You know, to feel reassured, not to worry the other shoe's going to fall at any second. You know, and so those are the basic, you know, among others, basic emotional needs of the ego, of the personality. But what happens at some point, and it can be earlier or later, doesn't much matter. What happens is the recognition that there's something else at work, that there's an empowerment or a presence inside, or that there is an energy operating beyond the superficial.
And you know, Shri, as you're sharing that, let's bring it up. Let's talk about levels of consciousness, because here it is, guys. Here's our chart, right? And this is our chart combined with a chart that was also created by David Hawkins, and showing the evolution of this. And in our new book that's going to be coming out in just a few more months, one of the things that Shri has done so eloquently over the past 20 some odd years is shown, if you look at the left-hand side here, you see that we have density consciousness, all the way that your ascended presence is evolving, but we also have alongside of that what Shri was just describing. So look at some of those words. Really look at some of those words. Look at the fact that trust begins while you're still in the evolution of density consciousness. Because you have to just trust yourself enough. You just have to trust the world enough to open up to something new. How about the first time, I remember, I'm old enough to remember when chiropractic was considered to be fringe. I mean, it's like, consider how far we've come.
Well, let me blow your mind further.
Okay. Shri's getting ready for a mind blower.
As you take a look at this chart, and you see the red line there at 200, that is the threshold where consciousness begins to understand the difference between that which supports life and that which hurts life. Life affirming versus destructive. Below 200, you can't tell the difference because everything is an object. It's just, does this help me or does this not help me?
Well, and what really gets me there, Shri, is the fear. Yeah. You notice that fear is at 100. And consider the fact that the planetary thought body is fear-driven.
Yeah.
So you are engaging a level of planetary thought body that's constantly generating at one of the lowest ends of the chart.
Mm-hmm. So here's the mind-blowing piece. 50% of the world's population is below that line.
Consider that, guys.
Below 200.
Consider
50% of the people are in you could call it the struggle of flight or fight, the struggle of survival, and that they're cycling through all of the emotions of what about me, how am I going to live, what about me, and that the whole notion of lifting into universal spirituality, taking care of each other on a global sense, is just a way off in the distance.
Well, and Shri, what really gets me here is in that 50%, you have quite a plethora. I mean, you're going from shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. Those are incredible, incredible things. And one of the energies that I saw, the very next one above the line, was courage.
Yes.
And what was really interesting to me, as Shri and I have been reflecting upon and have so much that to unpack from being here in the United States, is the word courage has been thrown at us so much. And what really is fascinating to me right now in gazing at the chart is that courage is the first step that takes you above that line.
Yeah.
It's the necessary step.
Is the willingness to take a, quote, risk.
Exactly.
Perceived risk from that
and
point
without
of view.
it, you can't lift. And that's what really hit me as we just looked at your chart.
Well, and there's one more thing that
Let's hear it.
It kind of stuns me, is that the energy of forgiveness, yes. But I'm not talking about, okay, I'll let it go. I'm talking about I have released this. The full release that true forgiveness is. And David Hawkins calibrated that at 350.
I'll bring it up again so you guys can see it.
So the scale is 0 to 1,000, and this gives us a nomenclature, way of talking about things.
And you see right there, guys, forgiveness, 350.
All right. The true energy of forgiveness, which is I fully release the perpetrator, or myself for that matter, because we did the best we really knew how to do.
Exactly.
The full release. Forgive them, they know not what they do. 70% of the population don't get it.
Consider that.
It's a concept, not a reality.
Or an active energy, right? Conceptual energy is in the brain. Active energy has a heart experience.
It's been actualized as part of the, call it the operating system of the being.
Exactly.
Of course, I look, I feel my pain, I feel whatever, and then I choose to forgive and move on. Forgiveness, therefore, is the gateway to an ascended state of consciousness. Without forgiveness, we are always in a Velcro situation with all events that we wish had been different. So forgiveness really means giving up all hope of a better past.
There it is. Giving up all hope of a better past will free you. When we are stuck in the past, when we coulda, woulda, shoulda all over ourselves, when we were constantly agonizing. How many times do you lose sleep agonizing over something you said or did or an interaction that you had, right? Let it go. It happened. It's done. Nothing will change what has occurred. What can shift is the way you walk through it.
Yes.
And this goes all the way back to what we talked about this morning, going all the way back to the April moment. I'm going to pull up that calendar one more time because it's just that darn important. There it is, right? When we give up all hope of a better past, we can find our balance. How can you be in balance if you're guilt-ridden and covered in the energy that is less than forgiveness, right? How can we do anything? How can we move forward when we're immobilized with self-guilt and shame and doubt and all those other victim consciousness energies? But when we look at the moment ahead of us right now, I hope you're looking at this calendar. I hope you're smiling. I hope your wings are open. I hope you're dancing. I hope you're like, yeah, I'm going out for brunch. I'm going to go have a Sunday moment. I'm going to go hang with community in the after party because this is the moment. This is the moment for you to say yes.
Yes. You know, and just to offer one more loving recommendation.
I'll take it. How about you?
The thing that a lot of us forget to do is to forgive ourselves.
There it is, right?
And so I want to we were talking about forgiveness. I want to bring this up. When we get entangled in whatever fashion, you know, government or interpersonal or whatever it might be, what we've done is we've created this Velcro moment where our energy is wrapped up in a situation that is not nourishing us. So it's one thing to forgive the participants, and I recommend you do.
Yeah.
It's another thing to bring a hand to your heart and say, I now unconditionally forgive myself for participating in this situation.
Breathe that in. Let's try that on again because that's the gift, is it not? Really bring those hands to your heart. Shri, would you guide us through that one more time?
And take a big breath.
Let's do it.
I now unconditionally forgive and release myself for my participation in that event. Fill in the blank. I release myself now. I did the best I could given my state of consciousness at that time. And the very act of sincerely recognizing that you were fused, you were hooked, you were in it, and to be able to take a breath and say, oh, I see, I gave my power in here, I got caught in some way. To be able to say, I forgive myself for that use of my energy. I forgive myself as well as all involved, because forgiveness is an act of self-liberation, not condoning an act. It's freeing your energy.
Freeing your energy. If it does not bring you joy, why are you doing it? Archangel Zadkiel 101, right? Breathing that in. Breathing that in. You know, the gift right now before us all is that balance is here. The April balance is stunning. And remember that, you know, last month, remember we were doing that big pirate ship? Those big swings on the pirate ship. Well, whenever something's been out of balance for so long, when you bring it back into balance, it normally has an adjustment. Think about your body, right? I know, like when your geometry's out of balance, when your geometry is put back in balance, there's a moment of, oh, I know that's in balance. Why does that feel different? Because it's in balance. And that's the acceptance and the recognition that there is a balance happening. And so I want to offer, we have a fabulous question here that we want to share with you. How do we, this is from Grigo, I think. I'm not sure I'm spelling your name right, but how do we take that step from being alone and feeling completely aligned to stepping out into the world and feeling completely lost? And so really breathe. I want you to really breathe because that is such a profound question and it's so powerful. And I know everyone here is going, yes, you know, help us understand that question more. So the first thing is by loving yourself more. It is all about worthiness. It's all about a sense of deservability. This goes back to classic life scripts. And sincerely, for everyone watching, if you have not taken Navigating the Inner Matrix, please, with all my heart and soul, go to shriakara.com, find the Navigating the Inner Matrix way through that works for you, and give yourself that gift. Because to break free of those life scripts stops the loneliness. Loneliness is based upon a sense of deservability that withdraws from a sense of being with others. You're afraid. What if I go out and I'm rejected? What if I go out and I'm not successful, or this or that, or whatever your perception is? So first begin by loving yourself enough to say, today, I'm leaving the house and I'm taking a 1-hour interaction with nature. Go to a botanical garden, go to a beach, walk a park, sit on a bench. It doesn't matter. But for 1 hour, you challenge yourself to be out, enjoying this beautiful planet, and really feeling the joy of the enjoyment itself. Challenge yourself to sit on a bench and to watch every single thing that you see with love and appreciation that it exists outside of judgment. Yeah. Try that one on. Because the more that you start acclimating, then the next thing you know, your energy field begins resonating a frequency that attracts others who are resonating in that frequency. Never lament those you do not meet. Celebrate those you do. The ones you meet are the ones that have the frequency that is with your energy field, a completion. We are all completions for each other. So celebrate those you meet and never lament those you don't. It's all a blessing.
It's also important to recognize that each of us has an individual journey of our personal healing, and that our inner child, whether you've denied it or you're living only from the inner child, your inner child is alive, and your inner child is an important aspect of your emotional body. And there are times when we just really need to step up and love our inner child as the wise parent. To say, yes, I love you, I hear you, I feel the fear, and we're going this way.
Right? We're walking forward.
I got your hand, we're walking forward this way into the uncharted territory. And by doing that with love and reassurance, inwardly saying what you need to hear, you will discover that you cultivate a strength to be more resilient in the face of the immediate impressions.
Exactly. And you know, one thing, I'm just going to pop this up. One thing that always guides me is the mantra, right? I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me. And as I'm sharing with you here, take it to the next level. Open your mind, expand your vision, ignite your heart, heal the world.
Open your mind, expand your vision, ignite your heart, heal the world.
Open your mind, expand your vision, ignite your heart, and heal the world. The world is ready for you. You were born in the perfect moment. The sacred sequence of incarnation absolutely validates your very presence, the linear attainment that you have in this very moment, everything that has happened in your life, that beautiful kaleidoscope, all of those beautiful fragments have come together right now in the infinite treasure of you. And oftentimes we need to just stand back a little bit to see how all those pieces came together. So are you giving yourself the breath to be able to see the beauty? Can you wake up every morning and just say, thank you? Thank you for this beautiful planet. Thank you for this incredible world. Regardless of what the illusion's trying to do or put in front of you or take away from you, train yourself, commit. This is why we're saying it takes a little bit of effort,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so how about a sticky note or two, right? We're sticky note gurus, right? Sticky notes. So put them everywhere, right? How about if you just put a smiley face on one or something that makes you smile? I personally smile when I see a Gumby, so I have little Gumbies everywhere. What makes you smile? What makes you smile? And do you have those little things posted all over your house, in your car, around you, in your workspace, in your purse or in your pouch? Something that when you touch it, by surprise, an accident, reminds you to smile. You are your best fan. You are the one you have waited for. So are you giving yourself enough joy? Breathe that one in.
Let's take a breath.
Yeah.
There's one of those divine questions. Am I giving myself enough joy?
Yeah. Right? I'd say always err on the side of more. Give me another heap and helpful, right? Keep it coming.
It brings back to that first question that I really appreciate. That to question in a way that invites a deeper connection is a beautiful investigation. To play the game of, well, what if, is nothing more than an intellectual diversion of fear-based possibilities.
Well, that's also that taking away, right? That's that pontification of worry, like we're getting so good at.
Yeah. And so every question that arises, if it invites a deeper connection, a deeper understanding, a deeper recognition, that can be most useful. Mm-hmm. And so, beloved ones, as we're coming to a close for today, I want to invite us all to remember that your soul knows the way.
Yes, it does. Put that in capital letters. Your soul knows the way. And the divine mastery presence that you are, as I am, is just sitting waiting for you in this very moment. You can do it right now. And just say, now, right now.
All right,
and as we say right now, which one? I don't know, guys. There's too many in front of us, and we're getting ready to leave. So here, I'm going to give that back. So we have something maybe, but we don't know. So, but what we do know is we have you, and you have you. And this moment right now, I want you to just bring your hands to your heart. Really commit to yourself. Right there it is. I am here. I am ready. I am open. Guide me.
Yes.
And as you receive that guidance and as you smile with the joy of being, I want you to go to Amazon right now. I want you to type in Ascension Renaissance and get the books. Get the books. Share the books. Start a book circle. Learn them together. Get yourself in the flow of daily inspiration. Download the app, Spiritual Mastery with Shri and Kira. Download the app. Learn about Mastery Mentorship. Join us every first Saturday of the month. Yesterday, the miracles that are coming forward, the people, the community, the support. Move out of loneliness, move into the support.
Move into divine connection.
This is it, right? April 4, 5, and 6, Universal Support is going to set the stage for the rest of the year. And the truth of the balance is before you. Infinite restoration, limitless experience, and everything, my loves, without limit, across the board, is going into hyperspace. How you walk through your mastery is the blessing that you get to live. And we are so honored to be with you. We would look forward to being with you a week from Monday at Monday Mastery, where we go so much deeper, receive your questions in real time, and you can be there just by visiting shriandkira.com and take some time with that homepage. Gather all that wondrous information and have fun. It's meant to be easy, guys.
Yeah, Monday Mastery, do look for that. It's an opportunity to be in an interactive Zoom format where we can go deep and enjoy each other. Mm-hmm. So, beloved ones, as we come to a close for today, at this moment, bring a hand to your hearts. Relax into you. Breathing. Noticing that on the breath is your freedom.
Yes.
On the breath is your support.
Yes.
And on the breath, we expand. We love you.
We love you.